I caught my best friend making out with a random dude on a girls' night out, who she ended up sleeping with, but she begged me not to tell her boyfriend because she would do it herself, and now she's engaged and he still doesn't know. Posted by u/Falala Throwaway 201. I, 24F, introduced one of my best friends, let's call her Kiana, 25F, to one of my good friends, Mason, 26M, 3 years ago. They instantly hit it off and were an item in no time. To me, it always seemed like they had a good relationship. They started getting serious, bought a condo together, and just adopted a dog from the local shelter last month. On Saturday, Kiana and I went out dancing with some of my colleagues from work. We were all pretty tipsy and Kiana said she had to go to the bathroom, so I went to the bar to get us some drinks. After about 10 minutes, my colleague asked, "Where's Kiana?" I scanned the bar to find her talking to this guy. Kiana is pretty flirtatious when she drinks, but as I was walking towards her, I saw her learn closer to this guy and start making out with him. I stood there in shock, but after regaining my composure, I made it over to her and said we needed to talk. I asked what she was doing and she said, "It was nothing, just heat of the moment. Please don't tell Mason." I was pretty pissed and told her that was a bad position she put me in. She said she had to go to the bathroom, then asked if we could go home right after. I went over to say bye to my other friends, when I noticed her leaving the bathroom line and walking over to that same guy again. They were on the other side of the bar, so I started making my way over again when they left. I began calling her phone and she ignored me, and just as I got outside, she was getting into a cab with this guy. I was seething. I tried calling her again and left her a couple of texts and voicemails, asking her to call me as soon as she could so I know she was safe. That was my first priority, to make sure she wasn't going home with some creep, then I would talk to her about cheating on Mason. She finally got back to me at around 5 a.m. Sunday morning, texting me that she was safe and she needed to talk to me. I received that text when I woke up around 9 and told Kiana to come to my apartment. She was over in about half an hour, asked if she could borrow a change of clothes, and she started crying. She said she slept with that guy last night and instantly regrets it. Kiana said that she missed having other men attracted to her, so she gave in to the temptation. I told her that, even though it was hard, she needed to tell Mason. She said she would and thanked me for not judging her too harshly. I said what she did was wrong and it was unfair to make me choose sides, but Mason is also my friend and most importantly her boyfriend, so he deserves the truth. A few days passed without word from Kiana. Yesterday evening, she texted me saying, "Mason proposed." I said yes. I sat and started at the text for a few minutes. Then she calls me, squealing with excitement, and gave me the details of the proposal. I then asked her if she told Mason about what happened last weekend. She said she didn't and couldn't now or it would ruin their engagement. She then said her mom was calling her, so she hung up. I haven't heard from her since yesterday evening, but she's already posting her ring all over social media. I love Kiana to death. We've been friends for over 10 years, but I can't help but be angry at her for not only cheating on Mason, who is literally the kindest, sweetest man, but for hiding it from him and accepting a proposal. I get the sense that she is insecure, which is why she sought validation from some random dude at the bar instead of her boyfriend, now fiancé. She put me in such an awkward position. A part of me says I need to stay out of it, not ruin my friendship with her, as this is none of my business, but I can't get the image of her kissing that guy and leaving in a cab with him. Mason deserves the truth too. I've also been cheated on before, so I know how it feels. I don't want to ruin anything, but the weight of this situation is killing me, considering I'm the only one who knows what happened. What do I do? Commenter: what the fuck? She didn't tell him, despite promising she would. Then he proposed. And she accepted. And she had the gall to brag about this to you? Here's the conversation I would suggest you have with her. You need to tell Mason what happened. If you don't, I'm going to. Although personally, I would just go tell Mason directly. She had a chance to do this and she went completely in the other lying direction. If you give her opportunity, she'll probably lie repeatedly and do everything she can to throw you under the bus, because she's proven she's a person with no morals whatsoever. If it were me, I'd risk the friendship ending and tell Mason. Honestly, I wouldn't want to be friends with somebody who could do that anyhow. Remember, she may be putting Mason at risk of STDs at this point with her dishonesty. I think that's what I need to do. Not only from a moral standpoint but also because of potential health risks. I was so upset when I saw her that I didn't even ask if she bothered to use protection. You're right. He deserves to know, and it would probably be wise if I didn't hint to her that I'm going to tell him. Update 1. 5 days later. A quick thank you to everyone who responded. I wasn't able to respond to any more comments on my last post/update right away due to my post being locked. But here's the update now. As soon as I sent my last post, I knew that I had to tell Mason about what was going on. It wasn't to clear my conscience, it was because I knew if I was in his position, I would want somebody to tell me too. Mason is still one of my good friends too, and he didn't deserve that treatment, regardless of my relationship with Kiana. Kiana texted me while I was on my lunch and asked me what the weight limit was for a carry-on, and that's when I remembered she was going away to some conference and wouldn't be back until Saturday. I responded with a weight limit. I called Mason and he picked up and asked him if we could see each other that night. He said we could meet at a pub in between both of our offices after work that day. When I got off work and walked over to the pub, my stomach was in knots and my heart wouldn't stop beating because I was so nervous to break the news. I walked in and Mason was already waiting for me. He gave me a big hug and he looked so happy, which made me feel even worse. Mason asked about my day, I asked about his, etc. He then asked if Kiana mentioned anything about the ring, if she liked it, if she was happy, etc. He must have saw the look on my face because he asked me what was wrong. I started by saying that what I'm about to tell him will change either his relationship with Kiana, his friendship with me, Kiana's friendship with me, or all of the above. Mason looked confused, so I went on and told him about what happened Saturday. I didn't call Kiana any names, I didn't focus too much on her side of the story, I just gave out an attempted objective narrative of what happened, right up until when she called me about the engagement and I asked if she was going to tell him and she said no. Mason went pale for a moment and I asked him if he needed a minute. Mason told me that Kiana said she got really drunk and slept at my place Saturday night, which is why she didn't come home to him. He asked to see the texts I sent her, so I showed him the text thread and all the placed calls I made to see if she was okay. I told him that if I were in his position, I would want to know, and because I care for him, I didn't want him to find out later on. He looked at me with almost no expression on his face and said, "Well, I guess I should get tested, huh?" I felt so bad for him and asked him if he needed anything. He told me he believed me and will talk to Kiana when she gets home. Mason said our friendship won't change and he's grateful that I told him before he ended up marrying her, but feels like trash that she accepted his proposal, is flaunting the engagement to the world yet cracked someone 4 days prior. He said he wouldn't be surprised if this wasn't the first time something like this happened. I told him I had no idea if anything else has gone on, but if he needed anything else to let me know. He said he'll talk to Kiana when she gets back on Saturday. This is when he started to get a little teary-eyed and said he had to go. He gave me a hug goodbye. I didn't hear from either of them until Saturday night around 11 p.m., when I got a call from Kiana asking if she could come to my place. She showed up 15 minutes later and was a crying mess. She said that Mason broke off the engagement because he logged onto her Facebook and found messages that she sent to some guys over the past year. Mason told her how I told him about last Saturday night and she said she was too afraid to tell him because it was a mistake. Kiana then asked why I told him and I said if it happened to her, I would do the same thing, and if it were me in Mason's position, I would want to know too. Her face started turning red and then she dropped a bomb on me. In my last post, I said that I knew how Mason felt because I was cheated on before. My last boyfriend, Dominic, and I were together for 3 years before he came to my place one drunken night out with hickeys on his neck. I knew they weren't from me and immediately broke it off with him. He said he doesn't remember who they were from, which I knew was BS. Kiana said that she was the one that Dominic cheated on me with, which means that, not only did Dominic cheat on me with my best friend, but she cheated on Mason with him too. I couldn't even look at her. I asked her to leave and not to contact me again. I've been questioning our friendship ever since. I got some texts and missed calls from her, asking me to hear her out, calling me a batch, then going back to kissing my I blocked her number and her profiles on all social media accounts. Mutual friends of ours have asked what happened and say they're not surprised by her behavior. I heard from Mason on Monday night. He texted me saying it's over and I asked if he was okay. Mason told me he will be eventually and asked me to meet him for a coffee tonight when I'm done work. Apparently he took a few days off for personal reasons. So that's about it, Reddit. Turns out I was blind to her character this whole time. I'm incredibly hurt that my so-called best friend has never really been a best friend to me at all. I can't be left wondering what else has happened but to move on and spend time with my friends who care about me and have proven so. I might provide a mini update on here if anything else happens after I talk to Mason tonight. I'm just still in shock by this whole ordeal. It makes me wonder if any of this would have come to light, had I not said anything to Mason. Thanks for all your advice, internet strangers. I really appreciate it. Update 2. I met Mason at a cafe after work. He didn't look very good, kind of disheveled, and his eyes were all puffy. I gave him a huge hug and he said, "Well, that's not how I expected that weekend to go." He said he cut Kiana off from everything, kicked her out of his house, got the ring back, changing all of his passwords and banking information. She tried contacting him too, but like me, he blocked her off of everything. He asked if I saw her and I told him what happened on Saturday night, and I told him what happened. He felt really bad for me that Dominic cheated on me with Kiana, and I reminded him that one. She also cheated on him when Dominic into. While I appreciate his sympathy, he's the one who needs support right now. Then Mason brought up the fact that I also lost my best friend too. We talked about moving forward and he said he will take some of the engagement ring money after he sells it to go on a nice vacation. We just talked about random things and he thanked me for all of my support. Before we left, he gave me a big hug and said that telling him was a brave thing to do and he appreciates that act of loyalty and it means a lot to him. I said I will be there for him whenever he needs anything. To many of you who are asking, I will not become FWB with Mason or even date him, not now at least. Yes, I care for him, yes, the attraction is there and we get along great, but I knew how devastated I was after Dominic cheated on me. You lose all trust and dating again can be scary. It took me a long time to come to terms with the fact that not everyone out there is a liar or a cheater, and I had to do a lot of self-reflecting and become confident in myself. I want Mason to have the same opportunity. Jumping into something with him would not be wise, especially because he'll be feeling a lot of different emotions over the next little while. Maybe it could happen one day, maybe not, but I'm just going to do what I can, go be the friend he needs right now. Thanks for your support, guys. Y'all are truly a bunch of gems.